Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up. Charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday, and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the Tax Doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Good morning, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust. Welcome to Monday morning. The call-in number is, as always, 603-835-3224. It is Monday, February the 15th in the year of our Lord 2016, the day after probably the coldest Valentine's Day in my personal record. I don't recall Valentine's Day ever being colder than it was yesterday. I think we were down somewhere around minus 17. I think I don't recall if that was with or without the wind chill factor. I do know that there is a place in New York State, up in northern New York State, I guess, that hit minus 117 wind chill factor yesterday. Yes, that means that global warming is really working to heat the planet up. There is some stuff about global warming, by the way. These people are just going absolutely batty because nobody's believing them anymore. So they're trying to make up all kinds of stuff. So we've got that. We've got some stuff on that has to do with the debate over the weekend, the Republican debate. Hillary's in trouble again, and this time it's from Bill. Her emails regarding Bill. And we have a governor that's proposing something that is really unconstitutional. We'll get into what Governor Kasich says that he will propose or do if he's elected president. It's kind of a bad thing. And, of course, the number one topic for the weekend was the sudden death of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Now, look, weekends are supposed to be time for people to have fun, just get their freedom on, right? And this past weekend was anything but quiet. And for a number of different reasons, of course, there was a debate going on, and of course there was the passing of Justice Scalia. And look, folks, I know that there's all kinds of conspiracy theories that are on the rise. I mean, there was a story out there that the justice was found with a pillow over his head. And, of course, I guess his family is foregoing a private autopsy. And they're just saying that natural causes is the cause of death. Well, I don't know how you know it's natural causes if you don't do an autopsy. And people are making a comparison with Breitbart. Now, if you're just a regular guy on the outside looking in, you're thinking to yourself, this is kind of fortuitous, the death of probably the most conservative justice on the bench. And some people I've had this weekend tell me that Antonin Scalia's death was no accident, and it was a warning to the other conservative-leaning judges on the bench. And let's face it, folks, we got a bunch of old people on the bench right now, and I am kind of flabbergasted myself about the sudden death. I don't know if there was. I can't find in any of the stories if he complained or was suffering from any ailment, heart disease or anything like that. I thought he was in good health. Evidently, he's in some ranch down in Texas, so evidently everybody else thought he was in decent health too. So it is kind of a surprise. But look, we're coming to the point in this country where truth is stranger than fiction. And this is not going to be the last time before this election is over that strange, what we might consider to be strange occurrences will happen. But in any case, we are loaded to bear here this morning to get things started. We do have a call right on. I thank you guys for calling. And it's great. We've already got like four calls stacked up already. Well, let's get to one of them right now. No, we just lost two. So let's get to 173. You're live on the Rod Eccels Show. Hold on. Let's see if we can get you going here. 173, you're still there. Hey, there you go.
How are you?
Good morning.
Did you have a good Valentine's?
Yeah, well, it was an interesting weekend, I'll tell you that.
Oh, my goodness. I've called right at 8 o'clock because, boy, oh, boy, you're going to be my counselor today.
Okay.
I'm furious. I am just, that debate was just almost, you'd think it was a nightmare. If you didn't really, if you weren't living it, you would just be going, this cannot be happening. I listened to it, and them going back to Bush war. I was a Bush supporter. I had lived by the GOP, sent money. I am furious with them. And, and I think Trump's right as far as the war goes. Hindsight's 20/20. He's way smarter than I am because I believe what they said. And, they can push it and say, oh, this was great. No, there is, boy, has, what I said today, I said, boy, are the roost coming home, they're coming to hatch.
To give Donald his due, Donald did, and somebody was, I can't remember where I was watching this, but somebody actually did a fact check on Donald, on the war was a mistake. Now, Donald Trump is on record going back to 2004 saying that the war was a mistake. So this is nothing new. And
right,
the Bushes know this. So, we basically went, Bush went to war basically 2003. 2004, Donald, as far back as they can find documented that Trump has said that the mistake was a war. So, look, we're going back 2004.
Yes,
so this is not new
right,
for the Bushes.
No, it's not new. But what is new is the way the media, what they're doing. You think about that crowd control. That is almost embarrassing. Can you imagine if you were in another country and online and you were watching that? You would think we're dumber than dirt, or there's a lot of underhanded. I go to Haiti on medical mission. We've got them beat. And I mean, you can't, it's almost unbelievable. And the internet has, I don't know if it's helped and it's hurt, but I just want to know who in their right mind could sit in that crowd and boo someone even if they didn't agree with his policies, I don't have any respect for them. If I was even turned toward one of those other guys, I wouldn't vote. I will vote for Bernie Sanders first.
Well,
because I at least know he's a communist and a socialist, but I know what I'm getting.
Well, you gotta.
That's where I am. That's where I am right now. Carson, I think he's honest, and but it's not his time. It's too much. The water's too high for him. But he needs to be utilized. I think I love that man. I think he's very, very intelligent, probably too intelligent for the stage. But, I'm here to tell you this Microsoft counting these votes, why are people not up in arms about that? And I don't care who you're voting for, Democrat, Republicans. Where did 90% of the Hillary voter tab? Where are they? How do you lose those? How's the number just disconnected? I mean, I don't know about you. I'm 54 years old, and I'm not stupid. I have a master's degree. They can say what they want, but it's not working for them. Time is running out on them. And I promise you, they will not ever get another dime. And Twitter and Facebook, as soon as I'm through with this election, I'm off that. They won't get another support because they're rigged with it. And Rod, I have to tell you, I came across something in the middle of the night because this keeps me awake sometimes. There's a man I've never heard of, and God brought this to me. His name is, I'm going to tell you in just a second. It was, oh my goodness, it's called, his line, it's Red Silver J. I couldn't tell you who he is, but everybody, every voter, black, white, Latino, I don't care who you are, American, get on there and listen to that man's history. It takes an hour and 20 minutes. If you've ever spent an hour and 20 minutes for your family, skip the meal, go to McDonald's, listen to this man. And because it goes back to the 1800s, how the Democrats and Republicans, it will blow your mind. And it did mine, and I was just in awe. I went upstairs. I told my husband, "You've got a wife. Listen to this." He said, "Get out of here." But I said, "Well, I'm helping save America. I don't know what you're doing, but get your sleep, But I want to tell you that so I didn't forget that.
Red Silver J. I've never heard of him. I can't really say that I have.
Well,
that name.
It's interesting for you to listen to it because it is mind-boggling. And history is history. But I had no earthly idea. But the people that I'm close to, and I have a lot of African American friends, I've often said at the end of the day, I would rather have an African American friend. I think they're honest, almost to a fault, because they'll tell you, "You've gained some weight, girl." That's fine. At least they're not, saying it behind me. And I really encourage everyone to look at that and then make your decision. Because, Donald Trump, yes, I want to cringe sometimes. I want to say, please, but he speaks the truth. He said from day one, I donated to Hillary. I donated to Harry Reid. So when they come out with that, we already know it. And we accept that because, you know what? He said it. He revealed, he peeled the onion for us. So they need to stop what they're doing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, hey, they all, businessmen donate to both sides of the political. It's called survival.
Well, it's business. I own a business. I know, but there's time you have to put all business aside, and that's where, yesterday I went to a Pottery Barn, and I have a Trump badge I wear everywhere because it engages, and if people run from me or won't wait on me, I know who they're keen on. So this little sweet woman comes up, and she said, I have a question. She said, I really like what Trump says, but my only thing is about abortion. boy, I said, let me tell you, I am not I'm pro-life 100%. My daughter just had a baby like 2 weeks ago. I said, I cannot imagine, but with pro-abortion, I think, is a person's right. It's not for me. And I told my daughter when she was young, I said, if you better just be careful, because if you get pregnant, you will have that baby, and you'll be at the Catholic nuns in Memphis, and you will give the baby up for adoption. That's never going to be an option in our house. I never had to say anything else because she knew I meant what I said. And I know things happen, but that's a conviction that they are going to have to take up with the Lord above. Okay, so I've been down that road, and so the woman, I said, look, immigration is number one, security is number two for me, honesty, trustworthy is way up there. And I said, Trump is a man of his word, and I believe that when he said I don't like abortion, but he didn't want to say, he's a man. I mean, I don't know what a man, really, I think people have to make the decisions, and God knows I'd rather die than to think I had to take part in that. But that's a social issue that I think we can't make a decision for people. We don't know. We're not living in their shoes. But God forbid, I would certainly, that's not what I think it's right. But, we have just got bigger fish to fry. And right now, and that woman said, you're right, and I'm really glad that I talked to you. And I said, God bless you and have a good day. And my daughter said, Mother. I said, you know what, Katie? Get over it. Get over yourself. I was the same place you were when I was your age. So go, rock your baby. But one of the things I did want to talk about just a second is this voter fraud. I live in Tennessee. 2 people in the one of my neighbors lives on the same street as me. I saw on Twitter, David McVeigh, he won't mind me saying his name, he's a businessman, he says on there, oh, look, I voted for Trump, and I rechecked, and it was marked Bush. Okay, another person in this town posted that from Thursday. In our early voting, I think it started Wednesday. Let me tell everybody, and everybody listen really well. I'm going to park myself at my voting precinct, and no one can keep you from doing that outside. And I plan to say, it's your responsibility. You check your ballot. You make sure your vote counts before you cast that vote. And I'm take your cell phone. If you see somebody doesn't have one, offer yours. Exchange information with them. Get the word out there, because this is ours to lose. It is not. They're not going to do it. If they do it, it's going to be all out. You know what? But everybody pay attention. I don't care who you're voting for. You make sure that your vote counts. This is not up to them. This is up to us. We are the ones paying the taxes, and they're at the party. And I mean that. You engage in conversation. I have 2 bumper stickers on the back of my Mercedes, and I get people that ride my bumper. I just let them. But I also get out of the car and I say, where'd you get that sticker? I said, I have one for you. In my purse, I have a handful. I keep them. And you know what? That's what we have to do. It's okay. We're not stupid. In fact, we're probably too informed. People need to get off the TV. Use the news media for what they are. They'll tell you exactly what they're doing. You can listen to what they're touting. And just like before Iowa, let me tell you something. That was a rigged deal. They couldn't pull New Hampshire off. but they're going to try South Carolina. And I got on the website and I volunteered for Trump. I said, I want to come to New Hampshire. They said, no, you can do it from your home. I got on the cast. They email you in 5 seconds, and you get on there and you make calls. I talked, my southern accent, I talked to a man in New Hampshire, my very first person. And, of course, you're supposed to follow this dialogue. You can imagine I probably broke the rule on that or two. But as it turned out, I said, you know, who are you voting for? And he said, well, I'm Trump, maybe Kasich. And I said, what is your most important, view? What's the most important to you? He said immigration, and he started telling me about Canada. They were coming over. I said, you know what? All I have to say is Trump's your man. And we talked, and I mean, they're going to throw me off their website probably. But I said, he said, I really do appreciate you talking to you because you know what? You just helped me make my decision. That was my first one. Now, can I tell you the next 5, they hung up on me. But it didn't matter. That one counted. And so that's what we have to do. You can't be embarrassed. You have to own it. And that's, I think that's really important. And because, it's Bush, I have lost so much respect. I really have. His just disrespect. And in the debates, you notice that he'll interrupt another person that they're talking to jump out at Trump, and then complains that he's being, Trump is a bully. Well, let me tell you something. If you're not a bully, you're going to get run over. So you know what? Trump can't win, but he is going to win. And you know what? They are making it a real nice run, and they're making it real obvious. And I just, it's just unbelievable. And so I encourage everybody to get involved, and it starts at those polls. Get you a group, start counting every person that goes in. I would think that, early voting is public record. Find out, start calling. How many people early voted? So when the numbers start coming out and you have 1,000 more than you have in the population, something's wrong. And they're going to have to answer to that. And it's not going away because we don't believe them. They look like fools. We don't believe them. And bless that poor Justice. Bless his heart. I hope to God for his sake that he did die of natural causes. But it sure looks fishy. And you know why it looks fishy? Because how they conduct themselves. When you look like a criminal, you surround yourself with that. Even if you're not doing anything wrong, you look guilty of sin. And it looks really, really bad. Why would you, I do medicine, why would you not do an autopsy? And who the heck calls over the phone and gives a death? We have to have a doctor that signs off and visually sees them. Who makes that? Why was he not being, the U.S. Marshals? Why did he suddenly say, oh, I don't want any U.S. Marshals because I want them to kill me? No. And that just doesn't add up. If it doesn't add up, it usually doesn't add up. And it looks horrible. The scene looks horrible, irregardless. They can say all that.
It really does. You got a lot to say, but you know what? We are coming up against a hard break, and I know. And listen, I thank you very much, and thank you. You are making a difference, and God bless you. I don't care if you're voting for Bernie. You make a difference. You give us a voice, and that's important. And I respect that. Thank you very much for your call. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rob. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king, but in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571. Or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
where they, there we go, disrupted them to such a point where they had no choice but to go ahead and do what they were, get lost and get left behind. Had no choice but get left behind. So I don't know why it is taking AT&T. Look, somebody with a disruptive technology could come in and undercut AT&T and Verizon and all the other big guys. But they've got a lot of infrastructure that they've got to pay for as far as the 4G. Now, folks, you have to understand, we had 4G technology that worked, that was feasible, back when they first introduced 3G. But we were coming off of 2G. You got 3G, so you started getting smartphones. So it's kind of like weaning people off the 2G. And now people are have 3G smartphones, and phone companies are forcing people to go to the 4G, and they keep upping the 4G. Now we had 4G, and now we got 4G LTE, 4G whatever. And now they're saying, well, we got 5G coming, but it's going to be a while. What's going to happen with these big guys, now they think the cost of entry is going to be the barrier. But at some point, people are already looking at and trying to develop towerless cell phones. Not satellite phones. Now, I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but they are working on towerless cell phones. So you're not going to have to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on building and outfitting these so-called cell towers. I don't know exactly how that's, again, I'm not a techie, I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but they're working on it. And I guarantee it is going to be some small startup that is going to disrupt the big guys. And it is going to turn them upside down, but they're going to use something 5G, probably 6G. Don't think that they're working on 5G. Don't think that they pretty much got 5G in the bag and they're working on something past 5G. I'm telling you they are. This is just the way business works. But there's going to come a time when you're going to have an Uber of the cell phone industry. And they're going to be so disruptive that just like taxi companies all over the country, I mean, some of them are just, the reason, how can I put this in a political sense? Because this is important. Or as they say down south, important. What we have is we have a government that is so corrupt and designed in such a way that it benefits the status quo. Now, for a very long time, let me use the taxi analogy. In order for you to be able to give a ride to a consumer, you had to be a taxi. But in order to be a taxi, you had to get something called a medallion. In communities all over the country, they have this medallion system. And you had to pay for this medallion. And sure, you had to go through some extra training and that kind of stuff. I get that part. And trust me, really, there is no extra training. It's just, have you been in a taxi? You want to tell me that these nut jobs have had extra driving training? No, they haven't. But anyway. You have to buy this medallion from the government. Well, the government and all the cronyism that goes along with it limits the number of medallions, thus giving an inflated price to the medallion. To such a price that in some municipalities, like New York, or there's a couple of places in Florida, medallion will cost you to buy it. Just so you can get one medallion so you can start driving a taxi, it'll cost you $1 million. But when Uber came along, they decimated the value of medallions. And there were people that bought a number of medallions. I mean, they spent millions of dollars in order to have a taxi cab company. New York, for instance. New York City, there was a story a few months ago, last summer, about an immigrant taxi cab driver. Started off, first coming here, got his taxi driver's medallion, permit, license, all that kind of stuff, tags. And then he ended up buying 18 medallions. He spent on the 18 medallions over $15 million to garner these 18 medallions. And then he was able to lease the cabs out and hire drivers. And he had himself a good cab business going until Uber came along. And until Lyft came along. And now this guy, he said his medallions are worthless. So from $15 million for 18 medallions down to next to nothing. That's all he has is next to nothing. He's gotten rid of some of his cabs because they're just sitting there. Nobody wants to drive the cabs if they don't have to pay that stupid fee, the medallion fee. Don't have to do it. All they have to do is get in their car, sign up for Uber and Lyft, go through the vetting process that those two companies have, or some other company, and you're good to go. Disruptive technology. Now, there's somebody out in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, who's trying to disrupt the disruptors. Now, because Portsmouth, like some places across the country, are trying to really stick it to Uber and Lyft and trying to keep them out of their city. So they're basically, and that's going to change because, you know, the state is starting to look at this and say, look, this is dumb. You know, we're the ones that are supposed to be doing this type of thing, not you. As far as background checks, your police department can't do the background check that the state police department can do. And you're saying that Uber, in New Hampshire, who uses the state police, doesn't do a good enough background check. Well, that's saying the state police of New Hampshire is not doing a good enough background check. So that's going to change. But there's already somebody in Portsmouth who's a techie who's looking at a way around it. Because Portsmouth City police officers have arrested Uber drivers in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They've arrested them under various charges, but basically, you know, driving for hire without a taxi. Again, government getting in the way between the consumer and the person offering the consumer what the consumer wants, getting in the way. So this guy says, you know what? I'm going to come up with a system that doesn't require a fee, because Uber is a fee. You know, it's a minimum $5, whatever, $6 charge, and you get billed by mileage and minutes and that type of thing. But this guy says, you know what? How about this? How about if I develop an app in Portsmouth where you hail somebody who wants to give you a ride, and all you do, there is no fee. You give them a tip for driving you. Now, it's putting people on the honor system. I understand that. And that could be fraught with issues of people stiffing a driver. I get that because, you know, people do that in restaurants, stiffing their wait staff. But now there's no fee involved. So it's not a for hire situation. You're offering to give somebody a free ride. There's nothing wrong with giving somebody a free ride. In fact, as long as the person is not hitchhiking, and even hitchhiking in some areas is legal. But this isn't hitchhiking. So he's bypassed Uber. He's bypassed the city of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Now, we'll see if this works, because again, this is, it's based on, people being honest and actually giving a good tip for the ride. But let's see if that works out. Again, the potential for a disruptor now disrupting the disruptor. So what we need now is disruption in politics. Well, I mean, this season we've seen some disruption in politics. We've seen the disruptors, and they've made a big splash. And we've seen the old standard business model, the old standard politicians, fight back in the old standard politician way. The Democrats are going to steal the election from Sanders. They're going to steal it. I'm telling you this right now, that unless Hillary Clinton gets indicted, Bernie Sanders has no chance of being the Democratic nominee. How else do you explain when she gets completely and thoroughly landslided, trounced, blasted, flatlined in New Hampshire, and still ends up with basically the same number of delegates as Bernie Sanders? I cannot remember the last time in a primary the victory that Bernie Sanders had here in New Hampshire was as lopsided as it was. And there are already stories that are surfacing that says that Hillary Clinton has already got a lead or an edge in Nevada and South Carolina via superdelegates. So it really doesn't matter what. Now, you Democrats, you liberal voters out there, now, you've always talked about voter fraud and voter this, and your votes matter, and that you were the majority, and that the conservatives were not the majority. Well, your own party is turning their back on you, and they are disenfranchising you. You talk about being disenfranchised. There is no disenfranchisement of the black voter out there. It's very, very little, negligible. But the white liberals of New Hampshire just got hugely disenfranchised by this superdelegate count. And you have to ask yourself, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? How is this possible? How is it that the person that we vote for doesn't get elected? And I'm not talking about the Electoral College for the presidency, because that can be explained. That was designed the way it is for a reason. Right now we're talking about just simply trying to have your vote count for the person that you want to be nominated for your party. In the Democratic National Committee, otherwise known as the DNC, basically in a lot of people's eyes, is stealing it from you. Now, I have always said, when you have somebody who is screaming and yelling about a certain action, it usually means that they're obfuscating and trying to hide their own actions, that they're the ones that are guilty of it. In other words, Democrats are out there saying, well, the Republicans want to disenfranchise voters with voter ID. Well, the reality is that the Democrats are the ones that are actually currently doing the disenfranchising. And they're doing it by cheating and stealing. You understand? They're doing it by stealing and cheating. Cheating by bringing in by having dead people vote. Now, we know for a fact that has happened, and it's happened a lot. And in certain cases, that fact has been significant enough to change the tide of an election. We know for a fact that Democrats have cheated in voting, because there are a lot of people across this country that have been arrested, have been convicted in a court of law, and fined and or sent to jail for voter fraud. And yet they want to say that Republicans are the ones that are doing the disenfranchising. And now we look firsthand in the state of New Hampshire, the first in the nation primary, Bernie Sanders totally whips Hillary's butt, and she comes away with basically more delegates than Bernie Sanders. In whose reality is that not disenfranchisement? 336, you're live on the Rod Eccels Show. What you got?
Well, Rod, I think you put that perfectly, man. I mean, that it's just what reason would anybody have to promote her in that way, except for an establishment type environment? It's kind of like that on the Republican side too, in some circumstances. But you're talking about this lady may even be in jail about the time this is all said and done. And what kind of crew is going to give her all those votes, knowing all this could happen in the future unless it's fixed that way? I mean,
well, I'm going to make a prediction that however this goes down, no matter what happens with the FBI investigation, final investigation, I'm going to make the prediction that Hillary Clinton is not going to be punished for her misdeeds. She's going to skate through. Because look, she should have already been charged. I mean, this is ridiculous.
How many times have we turned on the news or listened to the radio and heard, okay, here's another big pile of crap coming out about her? How much is enough? I mean, how much is enough now before you actually? And the fact that we have an attorney general in there right now that is politically motivated, was politically put in place. Now, let's not fool ourselves. We know Eric Holder was in the tank for liberals from the beginning, and this is not the way the country is supposed to work. We're supposed to have anybody that is the policeman of the United States. They are over the policing of the United States, and if your affiliation with one party is stronger than the other, how are you going to police in an equal manner? Okay, first of all, there's no way. There's no way that Loretta Lynch is going to bring this down on her because of the political affiliation. But when Trump is elected, things are going to start changing, and it's going to start from the ground up. It's going to start from some of these judges that are appointed on the lower levels, and it goes back to and God bless Scalia and his service through his whole lifetime, and prayers to his family, and thank God for someone like that in our country from the get-go. But these lower judges are okay. We voted in North Carolina to make the statement then that a man and a woman are considered a marriage from a historic perspective, a religious perspective, but our votes didn't count because it was overturned in the Supreme Court. And so when we went out and voted for what we voted for, our votes didn't count. We wasted our time. We wasted our time going to the voting booth. And this time it's going to count. This time we're going to go vote for Trump. We're going to get our government back in the position of being a government and not being a cheerleader for one party or the other. A lot of folks say, well, Donald Trump, he's kind of modern on certain things and blah, blah, blah. Well, I look at it this way. So was Kennedy. So was Reagan. And Trump reminds me a lot of both of those men. He also has a rough edge. Well, John F. Kennedy had a rough edge. He had affairs left and right, supposedly. But that didn't change anything that was government related. And I always say I don't like talking about Ronald Reagan much because I want the young kids now, the millennials growing up, to have a new hero, a new person to look up to, someone that's going to really do a great job. And I think that's Trump. I mean, like I say, we all have our battle scars. but we need someone strong in there. We need someone that's going to appoint the right judges. And, you know,
I got to tell you, if Trump is actually elected, knowing Donald, he's probably not going to want to be this way, but if Trump gets elected, man, look, we're talking the fully entrenched establishment. I don't care if you are wearing a tinfoil hat or not. There is some basic, really creepy stuff that went down surrounding the death of JFK, and I think Trump is going to have to barricade himself inside that White House in order to stay alive for 4 years.
Well, you know, we can say that, I guess, and that may be partially true. But I look at it this way: if he's elected and our economy starts, you know, getting back in order, there can only be superficial reasons to attack him or to.
That's what, hold on until after the break. We're coming up against a hard break, but you know, I got to tell you the notion that it was superficial for John F. Kennedy, my friend, it's not. All that kind of stuff is not superficial. We've got some real stuff that's happening around the world right now that Trump is going to have to pay attention to. And that's probably, you know, when you're not playing politics, but you're actually doing stuff, that could be dangerous for you, just like JFK.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Good morning, all you fellow liberty lovers all across the globe, and as well as you wonderful ecclesiastites. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you again from my bunkerized home studio for hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccels Show. The bunkerized home studio is located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. The call-in number, 603-835-3224. Again, is 603-835-3224. You know, the stories out there are that Clinton already has super delegate edge over Sanders in Nevada and South Carolina. And I don't know how you can have an edge if people haven't voted yet. Well, like maybe is there early voting in Nevada? The sweet lady just said that in Kentucky they've got early vote. This is why we need to cut out the early voting stuff, folks. The only reason early voting was instituted so it was easier to commit fraud and harder to catch it. I'm telling you that's the only reason. I just can't understand why in this country it is so difficult for people to get out and vote. When you go to other countries,
that are given the opportunity and a chance to vote, they will wait in line for hours and hours, sometimes days, in order to vote. And we get a little upset because the line is, we got to wait 5 or 10 minutes to get into a polling booth. And so, well, I want to vote early. And you even have some of these idiots out there talking about that we need a voting holiday. No, we don't need a voting holiday. People need to just stop whining, do their civic duty. Oh, my gosh. So it takes an hour, one day a year, one day out of every 4 years. That is not disruptive to your lifestyle. But I tell you what, if we got to that point where we finally said enough is enough and stopped all this early voting and stopped all this absentee balloting except for military personnel, you would cut out a lot of this fraud, and you would definitely see some different types of results in elections. I'm not making this stuff up, folks. I wish I was, but this is the reality on the ground, as it were. This early voting and this absentee ballot stuff is only and simply to allow government officials to be able to cheat and make it harder to catch them. And frankly, as we've seen over the past 3 or 4 elections, especially with Obama, the Democrats are doing the vast majority of the cheating. And can you imagine if it were somehow to be discovered that our presidency and our Senate and our Congress, that the majority of them were put in place because of Democrat Party cheating? You want to talk a revolution?
You got a great point. And Rod, if we don't get out and vote, if we just use whatever excuse that we can to come up with, I need to go get my car washed at downtown, and I don't have time to go vote. Well, you know what? If you don't go vote, then stop complaining. If you're at home and you're unemployed and you don't go vote, that's probably one reason you're unemployed, because you're not putting forth any effort. You're not putting forth any effort for yourself. If you don't go vote, you're giving your enemy fuel to go against your grain. We have to get out and vote. We have to.
The primary here in New Hampshire, I really had, because everything that was going on that day, I really had a 2-hour window. I mean, I had to do this program, this show, and then I had to do the post-show production. And then after that, I ended up having to be in Manchester, which is about, a good 20, 30-minute drive for me, depending on traffic, to get to the hotel in Manchester in order to cover that for the next 4 hours. So I had basically no more than a 2-hour window to get myself from my bunkerized home studio over to my polling place so I could vote, and then get myself to make sure that I was on time for all that important stuff that we actually did at the Radisson Hotel on Radio Row. I still made it. If somebody tells me that they don't have time, I'm like, hold on. Do you realize who you're talking to? I don't. This reminds me of the old saying, and I heard this, long ago, and I'm going to go back to my Amway days. Yes, I was once an Amway distributor, but I remember a motivational speaker at Amway saying, if you'll use any excuse, you'll use any excuse.
That's right. Well, I'm going to tell you something. This time around, this election, we need to take, I know that, don't call me crazy, please, or unless you just really want to, but we need to take a page out of the Democratic handbook. Not Democratic, the Democrats, okay? They carpool, they use buses, they use whatever they need to get. I call the Democrats that go out and vote just to, just to get the votes, not because their folks are voting for the right thing. They want, just like Hillary panders to every single group she can find, but middle-aged white men. Let's do the thing this year that we should have been doing all along. Let's get our elderly, our neighbors, let's carpool, let's get buses, whatever we need to do. Let's get this side of the aisle jacked up and out to vote. And let's flood these polling stations. Let's get our people out and vote for a new America, and let's get Trump in office and get these Democrats that are just killing this country. Let's get those folks out of office. We can do the same game plan they do to get all of our folks out to vote. If you have elderly neighbors, if you have elderly folks in your family that are really fired up about Trump, do them a service, do this country a service, and help them get in the car, help them get out at the polling station, and help them to where they need to be to vote. Let's get out and do it, folks. Come on.
You know, it's if people actually did take the time to pay attention to, and it's amazing. I know we've got all this other distraction. I mean, we've got the Oscars and the Grammys and all that kind of stuff. Oh, and we got a more distraction. We got a report today that Kanye West is tweeting and twittering that he is $53 million in debt, and that he wants Mark Zuckerberg to give him or loan him or something for $1 billion. Why is that even news? I don't give a rip about Kanye West's financial situation. If the man is $53 million in debt, he's only got himself to blame. He probably spent it all on Kim's butt implants. This is ridiculous. People are paying more attention to that than they are the fact that Bernie Sanders wants to raise their taxes so there's no possible way that they will ever get $53 million.
Well, you know, I don't care about Kanye West, but let me just give him some ordinary guy advice. You might want to get that ring back from Kim and pawn it and go ahead and pay off a few of those bills, and that might be a start, because there's no telling what he spent on a wedding ring for her. And it's all just a game to those folks anyway. I don't think they really take life serious, like ordinary working people. And to jump off of that, if I may, you know, Bernie keeps jumping on the banks. We got to get in the banks and break up the banks and what. Well, I just, you know, I did a little search, and I wanted to lay this on you real quick this morning, if I can. It's about the banks. Do you know that? Let me go down this list just real quick. Wells Fargo hires 230,000 people. J.P. Morgan, 184,000 people. Citigroup, 173,000. Bank of America, 152,000 people. I could go on down the list. You're talking about between 7 and 10 million people that work for the big banks and the smaller banks. What happens to these jobs when you break these banks up? That is such a big part of our economy, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody wants to talk about the good things that come from the banks. How many friends do you have, Rod, that actually work at a bank?
I'm sure I know a few, actually.
Okay. Now, you think about all these thousands and that. Well, there's over, you know, like I say, there's between 7 and 10 million employees in our banks. If you break up these banks and destroy these jobs, what are you replacing them with? What about the stock market? What about your kids, your grandkids? What about the stock market? What about those jobs that pass down from generation to generation? If your cousin, your uncle, or whoever works at a bank, and they say, hey, he's a graduate from college, he would work great in this position at our bank. What if it's not there? Then what happens?
Look, I've got friends that started out as just a basic. Look, I worked as a teller a long time ago. I've got friends who started out as a teller, and I know one specifically that I graduated from high school with. He is now the vice president of a major bank in Massachusetts. Now, that guy is not an evil person. He's a sweetheart of a guy. Let me tell you, and he wouldn't hurt a fly. And I know people that are tellers today. I know people that got started as tellers, moved over into bank mortgages and investments, and in marketing. Look, there's a kid 5 years ago. He started at Bank of America as a teller. He moved over into bank marketing. Now he's the VP of a Vermont startup in charge of their marketing. Look, banks are good jobs.
Is that not what we want? do we not want the jobs, the good jobs, the jobs that have, okay, these banks, they have insurance for their employees. They have benefits. You put in so much money, they're matched, 401ks, and, the stock market plays with that, amount or whatever. But if you break these banks up, you're breaking this country at a cost. Bernie Sanders, I don't know where you've been for these 70 years or so, but, son, you need to wake up, and you need to wake your sister Hillary up, too, because you keep talking about breaking these banks up. You break this economy up anymore, and we're going to be just like Greece. So you need to get your acts together and quit playing around with this talking point. We need jobs in this country. We don't need to continually bash the people that are working.
No, you're absolutely correct. Well, let's face it, what Bernie Sanders is talking about banks and Wall Street is he means government control. No, because nothing can be big. Only government can be big, according to people like Sanders. I mean, I love this. They're too big to fail. None of these companies are as big as or employ as many people as the federal government. And none of these companies pay as many people six-figure salaries for producing nothing as the federal government. I mean, this is just playing the good old class warfare because somebody else has something that you don't. If he has $100 more than you, it's not fair. He stole that $100 from you somehow. And the government has got to come in and level the playing field. And the only way we can level the playing field, of course, is to how? What? Let's tax him. Now, forget the fact that not a single person, other than maybe a welfare recipient, has ever gained anything from the government taxing somebody else more. But they have it.
No, that's true. And you take, for example, our VA. Our VA's government run. What in the hell have the liberals done? As a matter of fact, what have the Republicans done to get our military veterans taken care of? They've dropped the ball, and that's what Trump has been on a lot this campaign. It's a crying shame when you want to put more money into organizations that are doing nothing to help anybody but the folks that don't want to work. And we know our veterans want to work because they've proven themselves. So why the VA is so broken down right now is the fact that the liberals, in particular, they want all the money, but they don't want the money to go out to some good cause. They want the money to be circulated amongst the constituents, and that's a shame.
Yeah, look, if you want to, I've mentioned this until I'm blue in the face. Look, if you want to get rich, the fastest way to get rich is to get yourself elected to Congress in Washington, D.C. That's the fastest. I mean, just about everybody who goes down, I don't care what your net worth is when you go down there, you're going to come back wealthier than when you went down there. And if you don't, it means you're doing something wrong. That includes Bernie Sanders. No, Bernie Sanders, by all accounts, is not a millionaire. But Bernie Sanders is not hurting. I need people to understand that. Bernie Sanders is not poor. This whole notion that he can't be bought, that he wasn't bought, that he's in it for the little guy, that's just a bunch of BS. Bernie Sanders is not poor. He's not a little guy. He's been living off the public dime since 1981. The man has not had a real job since 1981 when he was elected mayor of Burlington, Vermont. Now, come on.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And, Rod, if I can finish up with something, brother, again, thank you so much for the time. I'm going to say this, and if I make people mad, that's fine. I've probably made a lot of people mad in my lifetime. But for Jeb Bush to put his mother and his brother out there on the campaign, I think is a big mistake because George Bush has a lot to answer for. I voted for George Bush twice, but I'm telling you, he's a lot to answer for, and all you're doing is messing your entire family legacy up, Jeb Bush, by putting your brother out there on the stage. It's a big mistake. It's a big mistake. A lot of things are going to come out in this campaign about this family that shouldn't even be out there. And Jeb, what a punk you are to put your family in this circumstance. You know better. You're Your ego is too far gone. You spent $130 million and you still have to beg your family to stunt for you. And I think that's a crying shame. His mama told him when he first started not to run, he ran anyway, and he is doing nothing but destroying that part of the Republican Party. I digress.
In defense of Jeb, I know Mama Bush probably wasn't all that thrilled for having her youngest son run, but let's face it, Daddy Bush and beyond the grave, Granddaddy Bush has forced Jeb to run, and I don't think this whole idea of bringing George, his brother George, and his mom onto the campaign trail is actually a Jeb Bush idea. I'm thinking it's Bush family stuff. It's male Bush family stuff. It's probably Herbert Walker Bush pushing the buttons on this one, simply to try to save some aspect of what they might consider to be the family legacy. But I think you're right. I think it's going to backfire, and they should have listened.
Rod.
They should have listened to.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just saying that they should have listened to good old Barbara. Stay out.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question, Rod. If you were running for the Senate right now, and somebody wanted to come out and endorse you, and you really didn't think they should, would you let them?
Well, I wouldn't, but I'm not the youngest spoiled little brat of a very cultured and prestigious family.
That just answered my question. He is spoiled, rotten to the point to where, and I don't think he's a bad man. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to.
No, Jeb's a good guy. He really is.
Yeah,
and he did a good job in Florida. He did a good job in Florida. I mean, let's give him his props. He did a good job. Not a great job, but he did a good job in Florida. Obviously, there are some things that I and a lot of other people in Florida completely disagree with him on. You know, the No Child Left Behind thing that he supports. But overall, Jeb Bush gets good marks for being the governor of Florida.
But he's for the number one thing that I'm against, and the number one reason I'm voting for Trump. And what that is, Rod, is immigration, illegal immigration. He's ready to just flood this country with illegal immigrants and give them a pass. And that ties in, like we talked about week after week, that ties in directly with our economy and our safety. And that is the reason that I will not vote for a Bush period ever again. Only Trump.
Wait. Now we got another Bush coming up. You know, we got George's nephew, George, Jeb Bush's son.
Well, you know, the only thing a Bush is good for right now to me is if I'm out in the country and there's no restrooms. So to put it bluntly, I'm finished with all that. It's time we win this election. We have to win this election. We can't put Romney back up there against Hillary Clinton or Bernie or whoever ends up being the nominee on that side. I'm still not satisfied it's going to be one of them. I mean, this is a messed up election on that side, period.
It is. Hey, Eric, before I let you go, I want to give you a nightmarish scenario for the future. Now, we're both young enough to still be around when this could be a possibility. But could you see somewhere in the future, probably about 2035, 2040, we'll still be around, we're going to see another Clinton-Bush election. George P. Bush, Jeb Bush's son, and Chelsea Clinton running for office. Can you imagine that contest? I'm sorry, folks. I know I probably shouldn't have said that. Everybody's just throwing their hands up and saying, we're done.
I thought we were friends, brother. I really thought we were friends. Okay. All right, then.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Have a good one, my friend.
Thanks so much, Rod. You too, man.
Sorry for that one, folks. I just couldn't resist myself. But, hey, that's not out of the realm of possibility because these two are, early 30s now. It probably wouldn't even have to go to, it's another 20 years, I guess. That would put us about 30, mid-30s, 2035. Yeah, this is a high possibility. Sorry to burst anybody's bubble. I don't want to see that. But, yeah. Look, when you're talking about political dynasties, when you're talking about political families in this country, it's hard to keep them out. And right now we've got
two families that just do not seem to want to go away. Now, there are other political dynasty families in this country. The Bushes and the Clintons aren't the only ones. Don't get me wrong. But on the national stage right now, we've got two main ones. All the other family political dynasties, they tend to stay local, within the states, and that's something that people in those particular states have to deal with. But they get to the national level, and the corruption runs rampant. Look, folks, I don't want to sound negative on this too much, but every single day that I'm behind this microphone, I have to do my due diligence on a daily basis. I have to make sure that, to the best of my ability, I am doing my due diligence to make sure that the stuff that I'm bringing to you has been vetted and it's factual. Because it's important that you get things right. But as I look at this, I cannot tell you the amount of corruption that I see in our government. And frankly, it is at the point where when you see certain things like the death of Justice Scalia, you got to wonder if it's natural causes by God or if it's natural causes by man in the form of a pillow or a needle.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571. Or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
603-835-3224 as we roll on here on the Rod Eccles Show. Of course, I am your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live. If you wish to call in again, I know we had a couple of calls in earlier today and they dropped off. You know what, folks? You guys, it's got to be patient. You know, give other people a chance that are on before you to speak their mind. That's all I ask. Just be patient. I know everybody's impatient right now. We want to get to November really fast, but we may not want to actually get there once November gets here. Really, tell you the truth. I mean, this is just this. This is. I know every major election cycle and season, everybody says that this election is the most important in our country. Says no. Let me tell you when we had some in modern history, when we had very serious, life-changing, country direction-changing elections. 1930s, FDR was elected. That was a pivotal election. Pivotal. And then we probably didn't have another pivotal election until, really pivotal. And some people might say, well, it was Eisenhower. No, it wasn't. Some say it was Kennedy. No, it wasn't. Another pivotal election was Carter Reagan. That was a turning point in this country. Another pivotal election before that was Woodrow Wilson. Now, understand, when I'm saying pivotal, these are elections that actually changed the course of the direction of this country. Wilson pointed us in the direction of socialism and democratic communism, if you will. FDR changed direction and basically pointed the United States in the direction of being a world superpower, never to go back in hiding again. Ronald Reagan changed course again and said the United States was going to be a leader of the entire free world, not just its allies. And by doing so, they were going to bring down tyrannical governments all across the world, possibly without even firing a shot. And he won the Cold War against the Soviet Union. The country doesn't exist anymore. Then the pivotal election came with Barack Hussein Obama. No, it wasn't Clinton and it wasn't George W. Bush. It was Barack Obama. Barack Obama moved this country's rudder back in the direction that Woodrow Wilson was taking us. and it has been full steam ahead. This election is so pivotal. It is going to determine if a second president is going to continue that course down socialism and democratic communism, which means that this country, as we know it, is lost for a generation, or more than a generation, for 100 years, next century. We're done. Or will we elect somebody who's going to put the brakes on and turn that rudder to this great ship called the United States of America and point it back in the direction of freedom and liberty and leadership? It's that pivotal. It's that important. Or as they say down south, it's that important. This, you know, I really hate to say this, folks, but we are living in the time of our nation's most successful president ever. Successful at getting his agenda passed, his agenda done. Most successful ever. There has not been a single president. Hell, there probably hasn't been a combination of presidents who's been as successful as this guy. And that's not good for the rest of us and our nation. It really isn't. It's not a good thing. The whole notion, what Rush said, I hope he fails, a lot of people now understands what Rush said and meant. Because let's face it, you know, we like to say that Barack Obama has been an utter failure. No, he hasn't. He has been an out-and-out resounding success. And we are the worse for it. You know, it's kind of like, let's put it to you this way. Yeah. He's the first African American, first half black president that this country's voted. You know, some 40 years, 50 years after civil rights. Nobody expected it to happen that soon. Blah blah blah. You know, great history was made and all that kind of stuff. But look at it this way: it is like those people who won the recent $1.6 billion lottery. At first, it seems all warm and fuzzy and happy, and you feel like, yeah, you're rich and things are going to go your way. And then you realize, 8 years later, that you're actually $2 billion in debt, and you have to go bankrupt. You won $1.6 billion, and you're real happy, but then you find out, 8 years later, it came with a $2 billion debt load. Did you really win? No. WND study now says, WND.com, study now says global warming slows sea level rise. Again, folks, I can't make this stuff up. No, we were told that. You want to talk about some idiocy. I mean, oh my God, there is so much out there about this global warming crap that is just, and people just refuse, who believe in this crap, just refuse to understand, not believe, just they refuse to understand basic Earth science. Now, we understand and know that water is not being created anymore on this planet. Not being created. Now, it's on the planet. It's got to be somewhere, right? There are people out there that are claiming the reasons why the seas are not rising is because of droughts everywhere across the planet. I kid you not. There are droughts. And every time it rains, instead of all that rain running off into rivers and being dumped back into the oceans and raising the sea levels, the ground is soaking up the water. Because the ground is so parched and thirsty. So it's not. Well, that would be possibly true if you look. These people are trying to tell you, and ridiculously so. They're trying to take a glass of water and fill it up. Fill it to the top. So what they're trying to tell you is that you're going to add more water to the glass, and it has nowhere to go. So it's going to go into your sink, which is the ocean, and cause the sink to rise. The level in the sink to rise, right? But that's if some big giant spaceship in outer space starts pouring water. You got to have a spigot to start pouring more water on the planet. The water's not going anywhere. The water's not being added from outer space. So in other words, the water that was in the ground that's been evaporated, where's it going? It's going to be rained back down and go back into the ground where it's going to be soaked up where it was before. I mean, this is just basic, simple earth science. It's not even Earth Science 101. This is Earth Science 99, for crying out loud. It's that basic. So now they're telling us that a study says that global warming slows sea level rise. And we're told that global warming was going to melt all the ice caps and the water levels around the world. We're going to have New York City was going to be underwater. Half of Florida was going to be underwater. You're going to have coastal cities all over the world. Hong Kong was going to be underwater. London was going to be underwater. All these coastal cities around the world were going to be underwater because the sea levels are going to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. Because the ice was going to melt due to global warming, due to man-made causes, by the way. But now they're saying that there is an extra 3.2 trillion gallons now soaked up by lakes and aquifers. What? So now folks, when are you going to understand, those of you who still believe in this man-made global warming stuff, that this is nothing more than an attempt to get at is an attempt to control you, at government power, usurping its legal authority over your God-given rights. Plain and simple, because whenever they propose something, it really doesn't have anything to do with stopping global warming. It has everything to do with government control over your life. Now we're being basically, and here's the story. A prominent global warming skeptic is marveling at a new NASA report that concludes the purported human-caused changes in climate now, after years of being blamed for raising the sea level, is actually slowing down the rise. But there is no rise in ocean levels. In fact, there have been studies that over the past 10 years that have said that the ocean levels have actually dropped. Why? Because there's more ice on the polar caps. Where did that ice come from? It's got to come from water, right? Well, where is the water coming from? The ocean, because that's where the ice is being formed out of. So now we got all this ice, record levels, and so the oceans have fallen. That only makes sense. But no. Look, folks, we understand, historically speaking, archaeologically speaking, we know for a fact that the ocean levels have been lower and they've been higher than they are today in mankind's past. Now, mankind could have only affected this planet's climate the way these global warming believers say, only over the last 100 years. Now, I don't know about you, but even in basic history class, we know that mankind's been around a lot longer than 100 years. So, how do you explain all those other climate changes in human history? I mean, major climate changes in certain parts of human history. And look, how about back in ancient Egypt? before man could even do anything about it, the river Nile changed where it was, changed its course, and moved farther away from the pyramids. Because it used to be a lot closer to the pyramids. We know this. It used to rain in the desert, but it doesn't anymore. It has nothing to do with mankind affecting the climate. I mean, this whole notion that I suppose if it started raining in the American deserts, the ground is, if it was a soaking rain, because the ground is so parched and dried, it would just run off. But if it was a soaking rain, that it would soak up and hold a lot of water. So some, lake somewhere, I guess, is probably, or ocean levels are going to drop. But so basically, is there anything global warming can't do, which Mark Morano asked on his Climate Depot site in response to NASA's assessment? No, Mr. Morano. There's nothing that global warming can't do. No matter what happens to the climate or the weather on this planet, it is due to global warming. It gets too hot, global warming. Gets too cold, global warming. Polar vortex changes its course for a little while, global warming. Polar bears have too much ice, global warming. Polar bears don't have enough ice, global warming. We got record levels in the Antarctic of ice, global warming. The oceans drop, global warming. The oceans rise, global warming. There's nothing that we get spells that have happened throughout history of the earth being parched, and droughts and stuff. Oh, global warming. Global warming, global warming. Man-made global warming is the cause of everything. Giant squid get washed up on the beach, because they die. They've been dying, being born and living and dying ever since, who knows whenever they first came into being. But now all of a sudden, these things are coming up from the bottom of the ocean and they're dying and all this kind of stuff. It's global warming. Because man is down there now chasing them up. We don't belong down in the oceans. You bring up all the submarines. Well, man's down there in the submarines, and the reason why they're coming up is because we're chasing them up. Global warming. Everything is blamed on global warming. Not just any kind of global warming, because there is global warming and there's global cooling. But this is man-made stuff we're talking about now. Not the natural stuff that, that's controlled by things like, the sun, volcanoes, even earthquakes. Oh, all that kind of stuff. Nah, that doesn't affect the climate on this planet at all. This planet's climate should be static. And it should be static because right now it's the perfect climate the most perfect climate this planet has ever seen in its 6 billion plus year history. Couldn't get any better. And we're screwing up that perfect climate. It took the Earth 6 billion years to get this climate perfect. And we're screwing it up. Sun doesn't have any effect on the climate. Oh, no, not at all. Volcanoes erupting and spewing all sorts of ash in the air, blocking the sun's rays and reflecting the heat and radiation back out into space. No, that doesn't affect the climate at all. Earthquakes changing the levels of land, causing certain pieces of land to rise and certain other pieces of land to sink and filling those voids with water. Oh, no. That has nothing to do with climate at all. Current climate change is all due to man's activity on this planet. So says Barack Hussein Obama. Just unbelievable. Governor Kasich, the good governor from the great state of Ohio. My sister was born in Ohio, Columbus to be exact. I I'm not going to say I'm not an Ohio fan. The last time I was last fall, summer, late summer. I was briefly in Ohio. And so I didn't really get to experience Ohio. I haven't been in Ohio in years. So I can't really, you look at Ohio, and Ohio's been through some rough times. Ohio is a Rust Belt state. It was a huge industrial state. And because in manufacturing and industry has left this nation in droves, industrial states like Ohio, Michigan, certain aspects of New York and Pennsylvania, Illinois, they've been hit hard. And so, it gives rise to certain kinds of people in governmental power. So now we have Governor Kasich, who's running for president. In case he came in. By the way, he came in second here in New Hampshire in the primary. People are still scratching their heads on that one. They still don't know how that's possible. Other than the fact that this guy I think he visited basically every county, city, and town in the state personally, so that probably helped. In fact, I know that boosted his electability here in New Hampshire, because whenever you get out and you shake hands with people, they're gonna love you. It's just the way it is. It's just the way people are. And when nobody else does that, when nobody else goes up to Hart's location and Dixville Notch, and actually shakes all 17 voters' hands in those, in each of those towns, that means a lot to them. If that's the only person, they're going to go for that person because they think that they value them. Okay, got it. Good, he did that. He got the second place, the silver medal, if you will, for the New Hampshire primary. But now Governor Kasich has come out with something that has got a lot of people scratching their heads, including me. I'm thinking, where is he going with this? Does this guy not know the Constitution? Does this guy not know common sense? Well, NBC News is reporting that Kasich is proposing, if he's elected president, a new government agency to promote Judeo-Christian values. Another government. You want to talk about ruining Judaism and Christianity in this country? You have a government agency in charge of it. That'll do it. I mean, literally, when was the last time you saw a government agency really doing good work? Now, I'm not trying to be facetious about this at all, but literally ask yourself, when was the last time a government agency actually did good work? And I'm not talking about the military. Military does good work every single day, in spite of politicians. Can I say this about our military? Now, think about this for a second. Our military is so spot on fantastic that they still are able to be the exquisite fighting machine that they are, even though we can change our presidents every 4 or 8 years. And even though we get some presidents who hate the military and are absolutely, totally devastational to the military. I mean, these guys are stripped of gear and equipment and manpower under Obama, and they are still the world's #1 fighting force. Yeah, can I hear a kudos for the men and women of the U.S. military? It is absolutely unbelievable how that is the one agency, if you will, that our government has tried to screw up, but they have not been able to do it. They've even tried on purpose, and they still haven't screwed it up. Hey, let's put women in combat roles. And the military finds a way, somehow, to keep it from being a massive disruption to the fighting force. They find somehow to keep a cohesive unit. I mean, they're just amazing. Hey, let's just cut another 40,000 troops. Let's already underman and understaff an understaffed organization. And yet these people find a way to get their job done. And done well, done efficiently, and done accurately. It's an amazing thing. No matter how much the government tries to screw them up, they still manage to be successful at what they were tasked to do. Now, you name another government agency that has done that. Government gets involved in something and they screw it up every single freaking time. So now Kasich wants to propose a new government agency at the federal level to promote Judeo-Christian values. First of all, it is highly unconstitutional. And second of all, even if it was constitutional, they still shouldn't do it because they would end up destroying Christianity and Judaism in this country. That's the way government works.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Welcome back. Hour number 3, fastest 3 hours of Internet Talk Radio right here on the Rod Eccels Show. It is I, your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio for hour number 3, buried somewhere deep in the bowels of the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. The call-in number is 603-835-3224. Again, 603-835-3224. Trump backers. This is from the Huffin' Puffin' and Blowing 'em Down Post. HuffPost. Do you realize
Arianna Huffington. Do you realize what she sold the Huffington Post for? I mean, it made her mega wealthy. Hey, but the rich people are evil. They're not supposed to earn that kind of money and have that kind of money. Oh, no, 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 no. They're not supposed to. It's just bad. It's very bad for rich people. I had a conversation, and I just had to get out of the conversation. I know sometimes people suck me into these stupid things. Conversations on social media. And I really get to the point where I'm thinking they really can't be that beef-headed. They really cannot be that stupid. But lo and behold, there are some people out there actually that are just that stupid. A conversation about rich people and their spending habits. Now, this guy, you would think that you were talking to a millennial or something with the attitudes that he had towards rich people. Unfortunately, the picture of this particular gentleman was of a bearded man who was obviously over the age of 40, probably over the age of 50. He had some graying in his beard, graying on his head. No, and he just did not look like he was 30. So I'm going to assume that he was a rather mature person and not a member of the millennial generation. Now, I don't know of any millennial that is going to put a picture of themselves up that makes them older than they are. But in any case, his argument was, and he was dead serious. Now, at first I thought he was kidding. But he was dead serious. That rich people don't spend money, don't create jobs, and that they only hoard their money. And when they do spend their money, it's on ridiculous stuff that nobody needs a house that's 10,000 square feet, blah, blah, blah. Like, wait, hold on. That has got to be the dumbest thing. Who do you think is buying the boats? Nobody needs a yacht. Well, okay. You could say that if you want, but there are a lot of middle-class, blue-collar worker people who build the boats that only the rich can buy. There are a lot of blue-collar people that maintain those boats that only the rich can own. So if you tell the rich person that you're going to take their money so they can no longer buy a new boat, no longer buy a new plane, no longer buy the big house, what happens to all those tradespeople and mechanical people and trained people that run those things, the captains of the boats, the captains of the airplanes, what happens to all those people? They all lose their jobs. And many of those jobs are good paying jobs. They're not, $15 an hour jobs. They're much more than that. And he came back with the rich aren't employing them anyway. So I guess you and your neighbors in your entire neighborhood, middle class, I'm guessing, you're all running down to buy a 100-foot yacht. For $7 million. You guys are all, yeah. And you're gonna pay for the annual maintenance costs of six figures for that ship. Yeah, that's I can see how the rich are so selfish and not spending their money. One of the things that hit New York City during the Great Recession is that a lot of they were saying a lot of wealthy people, and of course wealthy means not necessarily the millionaires, but the wealthier people like Wall Street and stuff like that. Those people that are earning six figures on Wall Street, mid and high six figures. Well, the banking crisis, a lot of those people lost their jobs. And because of that, there were some eateries or restaurants that went out of business or laid off workers. Why? Because those wealthy people that people like the bearded gentleman hate so much weren't able to eat out as often. And when they did, they weren't able to go to those expensive restaurants. which employed people, average, everyday people. Now, if you get a job as a waiter or waitress or hostess, if you're a wait staff or host staff at some of these, pricey restaurants. I mean, it doesn't even have to be an exclusive restaurant. It could be like a Ruth's Chris steakhouse in Times Square. Where it's going to cost you $100 to $200 for a meal for 2 or 3 people. Those wait staff, they earn 40, 50 grand a year. It is not easy to become a waiter or waitress for an establishment like that. You often cannot be hired off the street. You've got to have some experience. Because we're talking next level stuff as far as a service is concerned. These are high paying jobs. And a lot of those people were let go because the wealthy that the left hates so much couldn't afford to eat at these places anymore. They couldn't afford to give these kind of tips anymore. So yeah, I guess, no, the wealthy, they don't spend their money at all. Not at all. They don't hire people directly or indirectly. Not at all. Any case, I digress. Huffington Post. Trump backers file birther lawsuit against Ted Cruz. Basically, they're asking a federal judge to declare Cruz ineligible to run for president. Well, I guess it was bound to happen because if some of these people were actually true to themselves and they were against Obama being saying Obama was not eligible, then I guess that would be the case for Ted Cruz. Now, supporters of the Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump have filed a federal lawsuit challenging the eligibility of Texas Senator Ted Cruz to run for president. Now, the suit filed in federal court in Alabama. Wasn't there a song? Alabama, was it Alabama, Here I Come? I don't. Sweet Home Alabama. I remember that one. No, I'm not talking about the movie. Yeah, I saw that movie. This was with my wife. One of those romantic comedy things. It was a cute movie. You got to do those things. If guys, you got to do those things. Get with, watch, go to the. Look, I've seen a lot of. What was there's a Serendipity, and most guys probably don't remember that one. The women do. Yeah, I saw it. They were cute little romantic comedy things. You got to take the wife to the movies. She doesn't want to see the rock'em sock'em. Most women are not really interested in seeing the Expendables. They'll watch it with you at home on Netflix or a DVD or something, but it's probably very difficult to get most women to go out to the theater and spend $10, $15, $20 on a ticket to watch something like the Expendables. But they'll drag you and expect you to go to a movie like Sweet Home Alabama. Just saying. And there's nothing wrong with that. Guys, you gotta do it. You gotta keep the lady happy. Keep her happy. That's the whole point. If you know what? If guys just worried about being guys, a real guy. No, I mean not a guy's guy that all they think about is themselves, but are being a real man's guy and paying attention to. We'd have fewer divorces, and I would say that if I paid more attention myself, I would not be divorced today. Just pay attention to your woman, and bite the bullet and go to a romantic comedy movie with her every once in a while. Go once a month. That'll make her happy. Trust me, it goes a long way. It does. And a lot of them, if you just get over the fact that they're stupid, mushy romance films, a lot of times you'll see that they're actually kind of funny, and they're not that bad. I mean, just do it once a month. You pledge yourself. This is what you should have done yesterday for Valentine's Day. In honor of Valentine's Day and hearts and love everywhere, I'm going to give you some advice. Be a real man. Take your lady, your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, to a romantic comedy movie of her choice, or even just a mushy romance movie. It doesn't even have to be a comedy. Just take her once a month. You want to see how far that within 3 months you will be the man with her. I'm telling you, just take her on a date to a romantic movie, comedy or not comedy. Take her out to a good dinner once a month. You will be the man. I'm telling you. Just do it. And for at least, if you do that, for at least a week and a half to 2 weeks after that, you'll be able to do almost anything you want. Now, I'm going to tell you, don't, but you'll be able to do it and get away with it. But you're going to pay for it a little bit later. But you'll have more freedom, guys, if you do that. If you just take the time, I'm telling you. It's a little bit of a free advice from the Love Doctor, Rod. Yes. Now, the suit is filed in federal court in Alabama and alleges that Ted Cruz is not a natural-born citizen of the United States and should therefore be disqualified from seeking the office of president. Now, Cruz was born in Canada in 1970 to an American mother. Now, there's a whole bunch of plaintiffs here. Sebastian Green, Shannon Duncan, Catherine Spears, Kyle Spears, Jerry Parker, and they're all residents of Cullman County and supporters of Cruz's opponent, Donald Trump, according to AL.com. Now, ever since Trump entered the presidential race last summer, he's made similar claims. That's a lie. First of all, he entered the race before last summer. And he has not always made the claim that Cruz wasn't eligible. Now, if I remember how this whole thing started, is somebody asked Trump about this issue because it was similar to Obama. And Trump said it's something that he needs to clear up. He needs to take it to court. He needs to clear it up once and for all. That's what Trump has said. Trump has never did not come out as soon as he got into the race saying Cruz is not eligible. That is a freaking lie from Huffington Post. I'm sorry, it is. It's a flat out and out lie. It's not what he said. It's not what he did. Now, as far as Cruz is concerned, I think what they're focusing on now is that he wasn't born on American soil. He wasn't born in an American embassy or in a military installation. But you know what? I got to tell you, if you're overseas, you're not going to be born at an American embassy. You're going to the freaking hospital, and the hospital is most likely not going to be on a military base. Well, that's not the whole point of a natural-born citizen. It's not. But the question comes, Cruz was born in Canada, and his daddy isn't an American. His daddy is a Cuban, or was a Cuban. But the whole issue was that he was born in Canada. Smarter people than I have tackled this question. And frankly, when it comes down to it, I think it's the 17th Amendment that specifically states that Congress is in charge of who's a natural-born citizen and who isn't. It is a purvey of Congress to determine and decide, not the courts. And Congress, since that time that the 17th Amendment was ratified, has not done its job. Surprise, surprise. Congress not doing their job. But, folks, I don't. It is what it is, I guess. We'll have to see where that goes. I suppose. I don't know. Democrats are loving it though, because now it basically gets the onus off of Obama. But he's got less than a year left. I don't think there's nothing to even talk about or discuss about Obama's eligibility. It's been 8 years. People say, well, the damage has been done, and I say no. Even though Obama has done damage, it doesn't mean that you can never return to the Constitution. Remember, that kind of language is always in contracts. Something to the effect of, just because we don't enforce this, we don't enforce the contract at this particular date and time, doesn't mean that we can't enforce the contract at a future date. That's in a lot of contracts. If the contract says that, you have to, let's say take an employment contract, says that you have to live in this particular suburb and buy this kind of, and live in this type of house in order for you to have this job. But you decide to move to another part of town, another suburb, but the company at first doesn't do anything. Well, it doesn't prevent the company from coming back and saying, look, either you move back to that suburb or you're fired. Contract says you got to live over there. And you can say, well, I've been living here for the past 5 years and he didn't say anything. And the company can say, just because we didn't enforce it then doesn't mean we can't enforce it now. And that type of language and understanding of contract law has been held up in courts at all levels of government. Local courts, state courts, federal courts, time and time again. So just because Obama has done damage, just because Obama hasn't paid attention to the Constitution, just because Obama may or may not have been eligible to be president, doesn't mean that we cannot demand that the current new government that gets formed in November follow the Constitution. And as a matter of fact, they very well can and should. The Constitution can still be enforced. So this whole notion, well, the damage is done. No, the damage is not done. The damage can be reversed. All you have to do, look at the Constitution as a contract. All we have to start doing, beginning in November, well, actually, I guess that would be January of 2017, is to enforce the contract that the government has with the American people that's called the Constitution. It can be done. Just because it hasn't been done in the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or even 100 years, doesn't mean that it can't be done for the next 100 years. It can, and it should, and hopefully it will. But, you can't just say that, well, just because this guy got away with it, everybody gets. No, everybody doesn't get to get away with it. I guarantee you that if you get a Republican in there and that Republican does anything close to what Hillary Clinton did, a Republican Secretary of State, and they do anything close to what Hillary did, you better believe they're going to be locked up, jacked up, and the keys thrown away in a heartbeat. It's going to happen. There's no way that the left is going to let somebody get away with what they're trying to let Hillary Clinton get away with. And basically, even if Hillary Clinton can get away with it, or does get away with it, does not mean that somebody else at a later time can get away with the same thing. We can enforce the laws of the contract, which is called the Constitution, at any particular time we want. And it should be now. It should always be that case, but it hasn't been always been that case in the past. But we should be doing it from now on. And we have the right and the authority to do it from now on. Plain and simple. There's that, you don't have to continue. If you don't like the way you're living, if you don't like the direction your life is going, well, change it. Just change it. It's that simple. Change it. Well, change isn't easy, Rod. Well, no, change never is easy. Maybe simple. The answer to your problems may be simple, but it's probably not easy. There's going to be some work. I don't know what this whole notion is that we're supposed to do everything that's easy. It's not going to be easy to get somebody who's more constitutional elected. It's not going to be easy to get people who believe in the Constitution elected to Congress. It's not going to be easy to start getting these people who believe in the Constitution to fight for constitutionality in our government. It's not. It's a simple process. It's a simple notion. Just follow the damn law. It's that simple. But it's not easy. And we got to stop this whole thing, this whole notion about things need to be easier. I know we've gotten, we've gotten lulled in our society about making things easier and quicker, and if it's easy, then it's good, right? Easy peasy meals, easy peasy this, easy peasy that, this easy peasy banking, easy peasy education, easy. Everything's got to be easy. Well, if everything's easy and nothing is difficult, then nothing is worth it. And you're going to end up being screwed in the end. And look, hey, everybody's looking for an easy way out of everything. There is nothing easy. There are simple solutions to most of our problems, but most of those solutions are not easy to implement. And look, President John F. Kennedy said it most. We choose to go to the moon at the end of this decade, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. And because it will be worth it, and it's the right thing to do. Do not do something simply because it's easy, because if it's easy, it's probably not worth it.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571. Or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave leaving your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
603-835-3224 is the number to call should you wish to call yours truly. Hey, we've got something else here about the death of Antonin Scalia, Justice Scalia. I mean, this is basically on the. This is from the Weekly Standard. The Democrats are fundraising off the death of Justice Scalia. They know no shame. And there are some people taking them to task because, excuse me, they asked about this during the debate. Should Obama nominate a new justice to the Supreme Court? Now, excuse me, they said, most of them said that Congress should block, delay, or otherwise refuse to allow the president to fill this vacancy. Now, that is partially appalling. Partially. And here's why it's only partially appalling, but partially correct. Yes, this is an election year. Yes, he's an exiting lame duck president. And yes, it is going to be highly politicized. It is going to be a highly politicized appointment. But just because the president appoints someone does not mean that Congress is supposed to rubber stamp them. Now, if the president wants to appoint someone, which constitutionally he has that legal authority to do so, he can do it. And I'm not going to say that he should or should not do it. He should look at his own conscience and say, well, can we get by until the next president comes into office to get a nominee? Now, understand, one way or the other, Obama is going to get a nominee. Because if a Republican wins the White House, or even looks like he's going to win the White House, Obama is going to nominate, even if it's in October, he's going to nominate somebody for the Supreme Court. It is the job of Congress then to vet and vote. And Congress can look at this guy or gal and say, look, we don't believe you're qualified to sit on the high court. We're going to reject you. It doesn't even have to be partisan. Of course, it's going to be partisan because no matter who the president nominates, just about every single Democrat's going to say, oh, that's the best choice possible. Guarantee you. That's exactly what's going to happen. And Look, they've already said it about what's her name. Oh, well, that was just such a wonderful appointment. It was beautiful. She's just great. This is what they all, the partisan party politics is all about. They say this about no matter, if it's a Republican president nominating somebody, the Republicans are going to say, yeah, it's a great nomination, should be approved automatically, blah, blah, just send them up there. And if it's a Democrat, same thing. Democrats say the same thing about the Democratic nominee. It doesn't really matter. It's all going to be partisan anyway. But here is the point. Congress needs to do their job. They should stop trying to duck and hide from doing their job. Stand out on principle, for crying out loud, McConnell. If you want to talk about following the Constitution, then that is what you do. Constitutionally speaking, the president has the authority and the job and the responsibility of nominating someone to sit on the high court. It is then the constitutional duty of the Congress to vet and vote to either approve or disapprove of that nomination. This notion that the president should get whom they nominate is a bunch of crock. They should not automatically get whomever they nominate. It's called checks and balances here. That's built into our system, folks. President says, well, I'd like to have this person. Congress says, well, we got a problem here because this guy is not, he's not constitutional. He's a judicial activist. That's not what the court's about. Application denied. And they should go back and say, Mr. President, why don't you find somebody who's more middle of the road, somebody who's going to view the Constitution not as a living and breathing document, but as a document that is the law of the land, an originalist. Find me one of those. Congress can say, find us one of those, Mr. President. I don't care if he's left-leaning or right-leaning. Find us an originalist. That's what the Congress can say. And the president's job is to go out and find someone that he believes can fill the position properly. And then present them to Congress and say, hey, this is the guy that I got. It's called checks and balances. We don't have a dictator or authoritative government here. We have three separate but equal branches of government. And you cannot have one, Congress, shirking its duty simply because they don't want to have to deal with the hard process of going through the process because it's a political year. Yeah, chicken, duh. Do your jobs. Because quite frankly, the next president is going to have... and can we stop? Well, I don't... we nominate some younger people and they end up being on the court for 30 or 40 years, and that's just not good either. No, I don't think you always should nominate an old person, an octogenarian. But I don't necessarily think that... I know this... I am... Sure, this is not what the founders had in mind when it came to the Supreme Court, that they would have somebody sitting on the bench for 40 or 50 years. I mean, that's just that's ridiculous. When they put such limits on the rest of government, but to have the Supreme Court just be forever. I know it was a lifetime appointment, but they didn't assume that it would be a 40-year lifetime. I mean, think about it. If they're in generally good health, Justice Roberts could be on the court for another 30 years. Do you realize that? He could be on the court until his 80s or 90s. I mean, that's just kind of frightening, actually. What we have today is we have people in power that just cannot seem to extricate themselves from power. Power, I guess, is that big of a drug? That's what they say. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? Just I don't. Folks.
I am not of the belief that we should elect Supreme Court judges. I'm not of that belief. We should not be politicizing the court. It's already politicized, I know, but we should not be politicizing it even more. I do not believe judges anywhere should be elected. And I fully understand that they are, in many places, I know in Pennsylvania they elect judges and such, and I think they elect in Pennsylvania and in other places they actually elect them to the state Supreme Court. I don't believe that should be the case because it really politicizes the court, and the law should not be politicized. I believe there should be term limits at all levels of government. Now, a person can self-term limit themselves by resigning, but I believe that they all should, including the Supreme Court. I think it is time that we adjust the Constitution to put a time limit on Supreme Court of the United States justices. We cannot, no matter how good they are or how good they seem to be, we have got to stop this notion that these people we're going to promote somebody to the high court in their 30s or their 40s and have them sit on the court for 40 or 50 years. I mean, that is just insanity. Now, how long should those appointments be? Well, they should be of a good long tenure. I agree. 10, 15 years is good. That removes a lot of the politics behind it. It does. But at the same time, it also allows for the current generation of people to be able to have a say in their government. I mean, because you could be a president for 4 or 8 years and not get the chance to nominate a single justice because they could all live through it and none of them can resign. And then you can get to the point where we are right now, where either this president or the next president has the opportunity to clean house. Do you realize how that happens? The next president has the opportunity to actually clean house. And with one man can change the entire scope and view of the Supreme Court. One person could have that opportunity. That is not what our founders had in mind either. So if we start staggering these people and putting a limit on them, that eliminates this possibility from happening again in the future. Now, could you imagine if Obama had the ability? How many people has he put on the court? 2, right? Obama's had 2 in his 2 terms. Could you imagine if he had the ability to put on 4 or 5 more? That's the entire court. One man. That cannot happen again in the future. Term limits make sense. I know that there are people and I used to be of this opinion, the American people are the term limits. No, the American people are not the term limit. Half of this country's governors have term limits. Many of this country's large city mayors have term limits. The president has a term limit. It is time for every government official that is elected to have, or appointed, to have term limits. We need to be able to turn over our government. We need to be able to raise up younger people as they go through the ranks, but we don't want this to be a full-time, lifetime career that people get into, stay their entire lives, get fully corrupted, make millions of dollars, and then retire on the government dime, which is a taxpayer dime. No. Every single appointment in government agencies needs to have term limits. Now, we need to really have a serious discussion about term limits. Not only for the president, and by fiat, the cabinet members, they all have term limits, because usually when you get elected a new president, you get a whole new cabinet. But a lot of those other undersecretaries and deputy secretaries, they get to hang around. No, they need to have term limits. Judges need to have term limits. It's not just the Supreme Court that's affected. We're talking on the bench at the federal court level, at the state court level, at the local court level. You get these people that stay out there for 30, 40, 50 years. It becomes a fiefdom. You got judges that think that they're not just kings of the court. You got judges that think that they're the emperor. That they can just rule by fiat from the bench, toss out the Constitution, and just tell you what they are going to do to you if you do not follow their dictate. Dictate. No, a courtroom is not the purvey of an emperor. It's a judge. The judge is supposed to interpret and follow the law. The law is the Constitution. They're not supposed to be able to say, well, I'm going to make up my own law. No, those kind of people usually turn up because they've been appointed, and they're appointed for life, and it is nearly impossible to get rid of them. And they know this. So judges need to be term limited. Because look, folks, I'm telling you, it was okay when men had such character as they could self-limit themselves and remove themselves from power willingly. But for some reason today, we have very few people like that. Often we hear people, if I get elected, I'm only going to serve 1 or 2 terms. And then 6 or 8 terms later, they're still there. Hey, whatever happened to your promise? Well, I saw that there was so much work to be done, and I'm the only person who can get that work done. No, bullshit. Excuse my French. So, yeah, it is time that we as Americans start demanding and start looking into term limits for all levels and agencies of government. That'll help us get our government back, by the way. That'll help us return the government to the people. Is if we start having term limits for everything. And I know some people saying, well, you're taking the ability of the American people to choose, Rod, if they can't run again. No, we're not. Not at all. They had the choice. They voted for them. Plain and simple. If they like them so much, then this person could probably run for a different office or a different position, and they could get elected. But you know what? Oftentimes, that doesn't happen. So really, do the American people or do the voter really want that person? Or is it because there's such an entrenchment in this rigged system that if they just stay where they are, it's very difficult to unseat them? Well, that is the case. Because oftentimes, if you have a so-called strong candidate or person in that particular office that's been there and reelected a couple of times, the other side, generally, unless there's a big scandal or something, or they really see an opening, the other side generally puts up a weak opposition. And it's almost like rubber stamping them back into that same position. It's oftentimes when there's a real challenge is when that, for instance, I mean, you could have a congressman. Let's take Boehner, for instance. Now, Boehner, how many times Boehner's been in he was in office for 30 years or more? I mean, it was at the point where the Democrats just didn't really put up a valid, strong candidate most elections. It was basically a rubber stamp for Boehner to be reelected. Now, if Boehner decided that he wanted to be a senator from Ohio, that's a different story. And he most likely would not have won the seat. which is why he never left the house. These people understand how it works. And they don't need to self-term limit themselves out of a cushy job. And they're not going to. Medvedev. Yeah, you remember him. The little guy, the little puppet that was once president of Russia, but he was just a placeholder for Putin. Now, is that going to happen again? This is what isn't it Russian law that you can only be Russia has term limits, but it's a weird term limit. You know, I think you can be elected to I think their presidency lasts 6 years, but you can be elected twice. But then you can't be elected a third time. You got to take a break, basically. But then you can come back and be elected 2 more times. So Medvedev was that placeholder for Putin for that 6-year stint that he couldn't be president, I guess. Is it 4 or 6? I'm not up on Russian legalities of their terms. But now Medvedev is Dmitry, is the little diminutive politician from Russia. He's rather short. At least he looks. Whenever I've seen him up against next to any other politician, he's looked short. He's a little guy. But don't let that tiny stature fool you. I mean, he may be a puppet of Putin, but he's not a schlop or a schlep or a schlock or whatever. But Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev said his country is in a new Cold War with the U.S. and its allies. Folks, it doesn't matter what you think. Other people are at war with us. You can say, well, we don't want to be at war with anybody. We shouldn't go to war with anybody. Look, it doesn't matter what you think. Other countries in the world are at war with the U.S. of A. You better understand it. And Medvedev has just said what I have already said. We're in a new Cold War. We're in a new arms race. Except now we're not just facing off against Russia or the Soviet Union. We're facing off against the likes of Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. So much so that you've got European leaders right out there right now who are literally giving up on U.S. leaders. This is from Bloomberg. Europe's convinced U.S. can't and won't solve its problems. Not just its problems, but the world's problems, the West's problems. Europe is now facing a convergence of the worst crisis since the beginning of World War II. And the overwhelming consensus among officials and experts in Europe is that the U.S. no longer has the will or the ability to play an influential role in solving those problems and crises. And that does not bode for the United States. Whenever we have not been able to influence the course of human history in this country's short span of history, we have always paid a dear price. If you think that the world is not going to fall apart if we pull out of it, I think there are 2 world wars that show differently. This whole notion that we can somehow pack up and wall off our country it never worked. And in a day and age when the world is so tiny and so small, it is definitely not going to work today. And right now we've got an effeminate, ineffectual president with an ineffectual foreign policy, with an ineffectual foreign diplomat in the name of John Kerry as Secretary of State, that the rest of the world has absolutely lost confidence in the ability of the United States to lead. It has gotten to such a bad point that Medvedev has said out loud, finally, telling the truth, oh yeah, we're in a new Cold War now. Look, Putin has been trying to rebuild the Iron Curtain. Folks, you can't have wimpy, mamby-pamby, wishy-washy leadership in Washington anymore. We tried that. We tried that gentler, nicer, kinder, I'm going to go out and apologize for the U.S. being such assholes, and I'm going to tone down our military and our influence over the world. That doesn't work. We tried it. It has been an utter failure. And it is high time that we finally elect and re-elect people who understand what Medvedev just said. And trust me, if he's saying it now, they've understood that and known it for a long time. Folks, there's no getting. Sorry, folks. There's just no getting around it. We're in a new Cold War. And we've got some major problems with a lot of these people, a lot of these countries. China, building their military unbelievably fast. As if, we're supposed to be cutting back on our military. If you think China's not outspending us, you're an idiot, because there's no way that you can manage and build the world's largest army, air force, and navy and not outspend us, period. Well, we're out of time for today. We'll be back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, this has been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm Rod Eccles. But right now, I got to go. I'm out.